Hey everybody, welcome to the Weekly WP Roundup with BJ. I'm BJ, and every week I run all over the internet, grab all sorts of news and tutorials and resources, and I bring it back here and share it with you so that hopefully we can make your WordPressing just a little bit better. We will have news, like I said, news, tutorials, and resources, and all of the links that I'm talking about this week are in the description of this video. So make sure that you expand it and click away and give those content creators some love because without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. I see everybody is saying hi on the comments. Hi, Michael and Monique. I see Dominic is on. How's everybody doing? For those of you who haven't joined in before, we try to have a pretty laid-back show, try to be friends, and talk about this stuff where please feel free to throw anything in the comments that you want, any questions that you have. We've got a great community that tunes in, and they tend to help if I can't, so I'll try to answer anything that I can. So hope everybody has had an absolutely fantastic week so far. It has been absolutely crazy. I apologize about last week. I was a bit under the weather. I lost my voice, couldn't really talk, so you guys probably just didn't want to see me sitting here stage whispering at you. So I appreciate y'all being cool with that. This week, I've got some pretty cool news. News stuff has been coming out, and as we move forward to the Gutenberg release, we've got a pretty heavy, I don't want to say workload, but we're going to be inundated with some stuff soon, I think. So so starting out under the news, I want to start out with the best news that I could possibly think of over the last couple of weeks. The first link that you're going to find is that Elegant Themes, us, the makers of Divi. We're giving away an iMac Pro, so you need to click that link and enter. And lead up to our Black Friday deals, which is our biggest discount that we've ever given, will absolutely will be a winner of, and it's no purchase necessary, nothing like that. Just go and enter to win a new iMac Pro. So we want to be able to really give you guys something awesome, and that was where we came up, what we came up with. So click that first link, do that, and we'll have an entire, y'all know. Remember how we did Black Friday last year? Everything's going to be awesome. We're going to have all sorts of stuff, but you'll have to tune in later to figure that one out and find out what it is. So be sure to really click through and enter to win an iMac Pro because why not? It's a free iMac Pro. Let's do this. I see that we've got some comments on here. I see that Michael said we found out where your background came from. I know I was actually as surprised as you were because, like I said, I came into Slack one day that was posted and I liked it, so I took it. And then I saw the Black Friday stuff and I'm like, oh, all right, that's where it is. So it's still pretty. Musa on YouTube asked when the theme builder feature will be available. I don't know. We are right now working on making sure that everything is smooth with Gutenberg and trying to get everything, all our ducks in a row, and we're working on it. That is the only timeline that I know right now, but it's going to be awesome when it gets here, and we're looking forward to it as much as you are. I see, I cannot pronounce your first name, Catalan. Hi on Facebook. Hi to Australia from Brad. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of people coming in from all over the place. So like I said, enter to win an iMac Pro. It's awesome. The next thing that I saw that was actually pretty big news is that, so finally, so Gutenberg is coming out on the 19th. WordPress 5.0 is releasing on November 19th. 10 days from now, y'all. That is it. That is when we're getting WordPress 5.0 unless something catastrophic changes. Excuse me. I got excited and and choked myself a little bit. So the 19th is when we get WordPress 5.0. They're now saying they've released a blog. The team who's working on it has released a blog that says that the classic editor, the one that we're using right now, and that you can install the classic editor plugin, maybe actually come installed with WordPress 5.0. That it will not only be a banner up top that tells you, you can install this, but here, try the new one. But they're also saying like, hey, it's installed, press this button to activate it, that kind of thing. So that one is actually a pretty big announcement on their part, because it's something that they haven't necessarily even talked about before. If publicly, it was probably on Teams and everything like that, but that was never an announcement that it was under consideration. So I think that was absolutely wonderful to say, to just put out there. I think it's a great idea to install it and just have it put in with the release, because there are going to be a lot of people who don't know how to get the editor that they're used to again. So everybody, if you don't know, Gutenberg is the new WordPress editor. They're completely changing the experience on creating posts and pages into a block format, kind of like Divi. It is going to be the default that comes with WordPress after the 19th. If you install WordPress after the 19th, you're going to be getting the Gutenberg editor as your main one, and that means your clients are going to get it. And so you just need to prep your sites and get ready and prep your clients so that they're not taken off guard by something that they've never seen before and may have never heard of. So I think that's just something that I want to keep reminding people to keep in mind, that this transition is going to be a little shaky, and not because anything is being done wrong, but because it's a fundamental change, and we just all need to be prepared for things that come up and kind of troubleshoot it. Also, with that announcement that they said that 5.0 was coming out and it might include the Classic Editor, they also said that the Classic Editor support, that they're going to be officially supporting this, that this is not going to be they're releasing Gutenberg and that's all they're doing. Like, yeah, you have this Classic Editor, but it's over here, whatever, y'all do your thing. No, it is, they are officially supported. Both of them are the experience for WordPress now, because especially if it gets included in WordPress core, there is a support window now for when they're going to stop support for the Classic Editor, and that's in 2021. And that's okay, y'all. That is over 2 years, at least-ish 2 years, of supporting a plugin after they have moved into a new experience, after the rest of us have gotten into 2 years of Gutenberging, and that's a pretty big window of LTS on what is essentially I don't want to say it's an outdated plugin, but it's definitely going to be a legacy plugin because of where WordPress is going. But 2 years, we're fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be dandy. The only issues that I think any of us are going to come with are if plugins that we use, any third-party software, simply doesn't work with the Classic Editor. Eventually, we're going to get to that point, and that's probably going to be in 2021 or after. Because in the immediate, things are actually looking better than they did a couple weeks ago because of the inclusion in the package. Like, that's all it is. That's what makes a big difference in my mind, so that people who aren't necessarily in the know can say, hey, do you want the new experience or do you want the old experience? And that means a lot just to give that choice, even if Gutenberg is the default, even if they dismiss it and they get Gutenberg, offering that choice when they install it and log in, that's all they need. And that means that I'm actually not looking forward to Gutenberg. I mean, because it's changing everything, and it's going to create some waves. But I think that's the right way to go. I see John on YouTube says it's smart in their part. Yeah, I'm right there. That is the smartest thing that they can do. So what do you guys think about that? How do you feel about all of that? And are you prepped for Gutenberg? Remember, 10 days, y'all. You have a week. Y'all have a week and a half before it releases. And I'm sure that people have auto updating off, that kind of thing. I'm not even sure if websites are going to be able to update into 5.0. And there is a release candidate 3. Maybe it's beta 3 that's out right now. So you can try it out already. So the other announcement that I have, the other news, it's labeled announcement, is that if you guys have ever used any plugins by the company WordImpress, they've now changed their name just to impress.org. They make Give WP. They're good people, and I wanted really to call that out because they do really good work. And when they sent out the press release and they posted it about their new name change, I think it's going to just be a lot simpler to say. We're we're going to be seeing it places. And if you deal with Give and any of the other plugins that they do, but they've changed their name now. So they've changed their emails as well. So if you get in touch with Matt Cromwell, who is involved and he does a lot of the stuff there, he's changed the email, matt@impress.org instead of WordImpress. So just check that stuff out. It's a good name change. I like it, and it's not like when the Sci-Fi Network changed their name from Sci-Fi to Siffy. My dad and I made fun of that a lot. So name changes don't always go over well, but this one I like, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew about it. So yeah. So those of you who are just joining in, welcome. Thank you. If you've never been here before, this is the Weekly WP Roundup. I just get together and we have a bunch of links and we talk about WordPress and see what's been going on in your world. So share anything that you've had going on this week that is awesome or you need. I see Jazzy Bear Brown saying hi on YouTube. The best name that I've heard in a long time. I like saying that. Just Jazzy Bear Brown. Like, I like that. So hey, everybody. So I'm moving into the tutorial section now. There is quite a few tutorials that I ran across this week that just do cool stuff that we haven't had a lot of before, because sometimes the tutorials can get a little repetitive because honestly somebody's always asking those questions and we need to keep the instruction and documentation up. So some of the new ones, some of the new ones that I found this week was the Elegant Themes blog. We had some actual really interesting ones that were posted that, as we're moving into a slightly new content strategy to have a little bit more broad scope, that some of these have been posted in that already. And it's like how to write a professional email signature that converts. I have ignored emails from people if their email signature looked like a 1997 forum signature. You guys may have done the same thing. It's like there is a difference in having a professional email signature with your very concise in one place social network, some links, maybe a picture, and then an entire list of everything you've ever done. It's just, some of them are bad, objectively bad, and Randy walks through some of the ways to make it good and make it convert and actually help you out a little bit. Then we have I think it was Donyetta who wrote the how to make any Divi page element sticky. That might have been Jason. I honestly can't remember. That was Jason. I'm sorry. That was Jason who did this one. So if you have a not Divi stage element, a Divi page element that is that you want to stick on at any point on the screen, just keep it on there as people scroll, you can do that as well. And also then the last one there that I really wanted to talk about was how to say no. And this is not a dare. This is not a say no to drugs kind of thing. This is a say no to clients. Say no to your bosses. Say no to everything that really does you no good. Things that you shouldn't be taking on, things that overwhelm you. And sometimes you can say no in a good way and it is taken well. And that's what this is. Sometimes you have to fire a client, like we've said. Sometimes you have to just say, no, I'm not going to take on anymore from you. And that's what this is. It's kind of an assertiveness, learning value and how to really advocate for yourself. It's really good. I see some comments here have come through. Roy asked if I checked out Oxygen Builder. I've not. Wait, yes, Oxygen I have. Oxygen I like. It's a little heavy right now. It's not quite where it needs to be like a replacement, I think, for some of the ones that are out there, like Elementor, like Divi, Beaver Builder. But Oxygen is pretty slick. I like it. I like what it does right now. But I really want to see what they do in the future. But I think it's pretty right now. I think it's just a little limited. I see Judy says, speaking of name changes, this week in WordPress to the WP Roundup, mainly because of This Week in WordPress actually said WordPress in it, and that's a trademark that you cannot use in anything that you have. So we wanted to make sure that everything was on board, stayed on board before anything did come up. So the WP Roundup, that's why you'll see URLs that say like Give WP, WP Beginner, WP EmuDev, that you have those instead of WordPress multi-user dev or WordPress Beginner, anything like that you don't have, because it's actually a trademark that you cannot use. So we wanted to stay safe on that and actually call this the WP Roundup. So we're good. And there was already some stuff for like the WP Weekly this weekend, WP that around. So we wanted to just make sure that like David S. Pumpkins, we're our own thing. Somebody's going to understand that out there and hopefully chuckle. But that's why on that one. Thanks, Lindley. I'm feeling better. I'm not stage whispering and grumbling right now, so that's good. I see that Video Superhero. Hey, any timeline rumors on when the data-driven link for page will have the functionality of linking similar to how the customizer nav pages link work? I'm not entirely sure if I understand your question. I'm going to be completely honest. Linking similar. I feel really stupid right now, but I don't understand. So explain it to me, because I don't think I've heard anything regarding that, but I feel bad because I don't understand completely. That's one where maybe my brain's just off and not getting it. I see Brian says that he doesn't like Oxygen support. Okay. The guy disappeared for months with no support and then came out with a new Oxygen. That is unfortunate. Sometimes when... I didn't know that, first of all. Like, I had no clue. Sometimes it doesn't appear that you're incommunicado when you actually are. And being transparent and front-facing in support like that is hard. And he may not have honestly realized it. That stinks. Yeah, you're right. The new Oxygen came out. I don't know. That stinks. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. Video was like, when choosing when choosing a link, you choose data, and then you choose the page. Then you select a post type, and then select a post. Yeah, I have no clue. I've not heard any about timeline change on them. That is not even a thing. It might be in the GitHub that I'd have to go look and see if there was an issue running through to get that done. But I have not seen anything about it. And I see that. Brad says he's having a lot of problems with long loading times for the Divi Page Builder API. The best solution is file memory specs. You have the problem with the number of sites. Is it when you're loading the front end builder, anything like that, or is it when you're loading the page? You say the Page Builder API. That's so when you're loading the builder itself. I've had to clear my page cache before, my browser cache, to do that, to speed it up. And I've had an issue recently on with the page builder not loading for me on with a theme customizer for some reason. And it's on the back end, Brad. Oh, goodness. That is not something I have had. Maybe somebody else has. You might contact support about that one, because I haven't heard about it. And to be completely honest, yeah, video is right. Check how your PHP is set up on your server. But also that might be support, because honestly, whenever I'm using the backend builder, it's because I want to make sure that I don't have any of the flare that comes in the front end builder, and need to do something very specific. So it's usually kind of the rock that I use. I need to do something. So that's a support question, I think, if it's not your PHP or browser cache, because it's always been browser cache on front end for me. So it might be for back end as well. Moving on just a little bit, I had something that reminded me. I've been working on this a little bit myself lately on a personal project, and trying to figure out, the site layout, sitemap, all of this stuff. And Smashing Magazine posted a 101 course on creating 404 pages. And this one goes back, I talked about this months and months ago, on the use of 404 pages, that 404 really gets neglected, and that if you have an ugly 404 page, then you are missing a major opportunity to really reel in a few more visitors, because at some point you're going to have broken links. I mean, there's no way around it. At some point, somebody's going to type something in wrong. You're going to type something in wrong. You're going to change a URL. You're going to change a sitemap. You're going to change some sort of permalink structure. Whatever it is, you are going to have 404s, and it happens. But what you can do, and this is what this article is about that Smashing put out, is that you can do things to make it so that those 404 pages are actually useful. I was using a plugin the other day on being able to do it to redirect to specific pages or random pages with a message. Or what I like is customizing it. And one of the things they talk about is like customizing it with jokes, things like that, to make it where people aren't upset. But more than that, I like putting special discounts on your 404 page. That I think that that's a way to really say you're sorry. That if you're like, hey, this page is a 404. Sorry you didn't find what you got here. I didn't realize that this was broken, but here, take 15% off your next purchase. And with this code, and it's like 404 sorry or something like that, whatever it is. But that's the only place that you get that discount. Or you can have it where there's a pop-up with Bloom or something like that gives a unique code to people who hit 404. I mean, there's a way to do generated codes like that as well, but only on 404s. So it's something that I like doing, that really is a way to market and get users who you may not get anything from normally, because you're offering them that discount. I like doing that. So it's fun. I see that Brad get asked to do a lot of funny illustrations for 404s. I've done I'm not an illustrator at all. Searching through stock sites like Shutterstock and then just Pixabay, things like that. I've seen a lot of specifically 404 stock templates that are funny illustrations and things like that, because that really is taking off. And it's a good place to put animations as well. I love, for some reason, I don't know why, like animated 404s. I'm always like, oh, look at that, they care about me. And it is pure psychology. So just stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that Smashing is talking about. And it's something that we all need to do better, because mine, on some of my pages, they are ugly. So think about doing something like that as a side project for some of you guys. Because it may not be the main thing that you're working on, obviously, but it's a good way to spend your time when you don't have anything important and urgent. That's how I actually had a boss who did that one time, the important urgent thing, where it's like you have the 4 quadrants where it's like important and urgent, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, not important, not urgent, and you put all your tasks that way. Really works. A lot of the times I don't get into those kind of productivity hacks like that, but whenever she told me about that, I was like, oh yeah, that saved my tail a couple of times. So do that, y'all. Tangent, but it works. So the next one down is the WordPress developer salary link. Click this link under tutorials, and this is the reason it's under tutorials is because it's how to increase your salary. Click on this link. This is very important because this is for developers. Now, this is developer specific. This is not designer. This is not content creator. But this is for design or for developers. Specifically, and they talk about like when you're what the WordPress developers make on all these different sites. The average Glassdoor has 68,000, and these are in US dollars. 59 on Indeed has 59.9 or 28.84 an hour. ZipRecruiter has 71,000. PayScale has 50,000. Simply Hired has 62,000, and Nuvu, I think. I always want to say Noivu, but I don't think that's it. Nuvu is 68,000, and the average is $63,348 a year. That is just something to keep in mind. I've heard when I was switching careers, when I was going from academics and being a teacher and moving into WordPress, I was looking at development design and just whatever I wanted to do. And I started Ruby on Rails, like some of you know, that when I started learning, because the salaries were way higher than WordPress. WordPress developers made less on average than other developers, than like .NET developers, Rails, Ruby, JavaScript, whatever. WordPress had lower average salary, and that's true. I know a lot of developers who easily make 90 to 150 a year doing the same kind of work as WordPress developers, but those jobs are harder to get. Those jobs are more and those jobs are more competitive. WordPress developers, there are way more jobs out there for us, and that means that we have a lot of job security, a lot easier to get a job after you've done that. You also have the skills of working in PHP and JavaScript and everything like that, so it's moving up from where it was. I remember a few years ago it was only at 50,000 average, so moving up to 63 is a pretty considerable jump. But that's something to keep in mind. They talk about what data says about freelance developer rate. An article from Upwork says that the average freelance WordPress developer on their platform charges anywhere from $20 to $100. And I was told by someone at WordCamp when I first started that I'd charge $50 an hour, and that they told me that wasn't enough to make a living on. They're absolutely right. And they charge, this person charged $150 an hour at the time. So, and that wasn't for development necessarily. That was for kind of a holistic WordPress approach with design development and kind of content creation as well. They talk about page per hour, stuff like that. Like, they break this down to where the median hourly rate, and in North America, well, the median hourly rate globally is $61 to $80. That's where you're hitting the median. And then North America specifically goes to 81 to 100 per hour. And you'll see an uptick, they say, of people charging 141 plus, which brings the average up, which does. So who knows what people make? I mean, there's a broad range there, but going through this and then seeing, comparing it to Drupal and Joomla developers, and then how to raise your own salaries, like offering value add services, just things like that, being able to negotiate your own different contracts, that kind of stuff. Those are important. Knowing how to do that, and it's important to learn what other people in your field make. It's really important to know what other people at your company make, and it's important to know what other people in your field make. That way you don't undervalue yourself. That way your bosses don't undervalue you. I mean, to be completely honest, you need to know what other people you work with make, not because to be mad at the other people because they didn't do anything wrong. It's the systemic not paying everyone equally and fairly. So articles like this can give you a good idea of where to start in terms of your salary, and when you need to move in, and when you need to move into negotiations, those kind of things, for contract renegotiation, for simply asking for a raise, looking at a disparity in, coworker to coworker, company to company, state to state. Because even if you're looking at that, like the average, there are some places where a $68,000 a year job would not pay for you an apartment. San Francisco. But where in a rural area like where I'm from, that is an absolutely absurd salary. So it's like very few people make that. Like, that is crazy around here because we have a lower cost of living. So it just depends on where you are, what that average will look like for you in your particular geographic area. But it's important information to keep in mind. It's something that that honestly it gives you a lot more power to be able to make decisions for yourself on whether or not you're in the right place and treated fairly, that kind of stuff. So it's really important. This is something I care a lot about, is making sure that everyone gets a fair shake when it comes to salary and benefits. And especially in America, from a lot of the stuff I've read about America versus international corporate stuff, I don't know a whole lot about international freelancing. A lot of business to business is that Americans kind of get the short end of the stick, that American corporations tend to take more advantage than a lot of corporations from other countries. So for those of you who are American and you work for an agency or anything like that, make sure you're getting paid what you need to get paid. It is very important, because that is, I mean, that's your livelihood. You do the work, you have the skills, more than anything, you have the expertise, and you're worth that. So look at it, see what you're doing. That is real. Like I said, it's just something that I think is very important. There is a huge wage gap between so many different demographics in so many different places that it's not, you always hear about a gender wage gap, which is there, but you don't always necessarily see there's an age wage gap, that they'll hire in younger people at a higher salary than they hired in an older person, but the older person has been there longer and has not negotiated up to the point where new people are. So there's a discrepancy there because they haven't kept up with the inflation that caused the salary base to raise. And so that person has, been with the company for a long time, let's say, and they've never, thought they've gotten the short end of the stick. They've never been short shrifted, but number-wise, numerically, they're due to be treated fairly in that situation. And it's not any issue on them or maybe even the employer at that point. But it's something that needs to be talked about. It's something that needs to be known and brought out into the open. So yeah, that's a very important article that I saw. And I really, if you can't tell, I really think you ought to read it and get some, and just get those ideas in your head. That made my mouth very dry. So another thing that I found this week was a WP Shout article on how to change WordPress user passwords by FTP. And again, I was working on some stuff this week. I was talking about, well, not talking about, I'm talking about this to you, but I was writing about different things and that you could do with a plugin called Better Search Replace. And I've been playing around in FTP a bunch. And this article goes in and talks about how you can add a function that changes the password for specific accounts by FTP. By doing this, it's very powerful. If you have FTP access, this is really for if you get locked out. That's why you would want to do this. This is not to mess with people. This is not to hack something. This is to be able to honestly change what needs to be done on emergencies. But it was something that I wanted you guys to know that you could do. Also with that, with a Better Search Replace, and also doing this by FTP, you can actually change WordPress usernames. You can't change them in the dashboard. I want you guys to know this so that if you've got like the admin password or the admin username somewhere, if you've inherited a site or set up a site, I've done it myself, and you have the WordPress user as admin, that is so unsafe, y'all. That is so terribly unsafe that I don't like. You'll get hacked. Like WordPress brute force attacks are up. Please change it. And WordPress tells you that you can't change it. You can. You have to do it by FTP. You have to change it in the database. You have to be able to change it in all the way through, because it doesn't let you on the visual end, because that's fairly important and dangerous to do. But just doing it with a Better Search Replace, you can do it by changing every individual value from admin to whatever your new value is, and nothing else should change. Very, very easy to do, and you can do it by FTP like this as well. And you can do it in my PHP admin, but you better know what you're doing if you're doing it with that. but it's something that WordPress says you can't do and some people need. Michael, there are a lot of 2FA options out there, but it does need it built in. It absolutely does need on YouTube. Excuse me, I just started responding on YouTube. Michael Salem says that WordPress really needs two-factor authentication, and that is something that really needs to be built into the software. It's something that I don't doubt will be there eventually, but there are some really good two-factor. There really are some really good two-factor apps and plugins out there that are WordPress compatible. And there's an article on Elegant Themes about that. I know I've run across it and cited it a couple of times in the blog. So check it out. There's also one that I'm not sure if the service is still live or not, called Key, Keyy, that I thought was really cool. I'm looking now to see if it's still going. I'm thinking that for some reason it may have... GetKey, excuse me, Getkeyy was a really interesting product I did an article on, where you don't store passwords at all. It gives you, instead of a login page, it gives you basically what amounts to a QR code, but it's gobbledygook at random particles and lines and stuff, and then you line it up with your phone, and then it logs you into the website. Kind of like if you've transferred something from one iPhone to another, or anything like that recently. It's the same thing. It's really cool. For some reason I was thinking it wasn't working, it wasn't around anymore, but it is. It's there. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna type that into the chat just to show people what it was, if you're interested in a different take on Keyy.com. If you're interested on a different take in two-factor. Also, speaking of two-factor, I'll get to something down in just a little bit about two-factor, but I might as well do it now. Underneath, somewhere in the resources. Oh, there it is. Somewhere in the resources, it is the fifth one down under resources. That's something that reminded me. Is that here we go. Yeah, there we go. I did an overview a couple of weeks ago about Liquid Web's managed WooCommerce hosting, and the only thing, this is actually a resource that I just wanted to point you at, because I didn't know if you guys knew that they have managed WooCommerce specifically hosting. That if you use Flywheel and WP Engine, things like that, therefore they're optimized for general WordPress optimization, where you speed and performance across the board. Liquid Web has set up a managed WooCommerce hosting where everything about it is to make sure that your product pages, analytics, reports, invoicing, everything is the absolute best it can. It's really cool, and I didn't know this really existed until a few weeks ago when it was brought to my attention before I did this overview of it. So I'll link to the overview, but I really want you to know about this product that Liquid Web had, because it's cool. Like, we see a lot of just managed WordPress hosts, but we also we don't see a whole lot of managed WooCommerce hosts. I don't know if I've ever seen another one, which is why I wanted you guys to know about this one specifically. But what reminded me of that was Michael saying about WordPress needing 2FA. When I was setting up my account, doing all of this, two-factor came automatically with the WordPress installation, not in the back end for Liquid Web itself. I could add it in if I wanted to, but their WordPress installation, when you go in there to get into your dashboard, it had built in 2FA on there, where I saw it, that I actually thought I had missed a WordPress update that had two-factor built in, because it was that smooth. It was styled just like the WordPress login page. Just everything about it was so smooth, and I don't actually know what plugin that is or software that they use for that, but that's what I wish WordPress itself was like, because it was so smooth to set up. It was just another step. It's like, oh, hey, here's your login page. Oh, set up two factors. Like, yes, I don't mind if I do. Now I'm going to log in. Like, it was just perfect. And that's what I agree with you, what WordPress itself actually needs. So it was Michael, it was ideal. It was absolutely great for what it was. I mean, I know that it's a pretty nerdy thing to really be like, yeah, two-factor, but it's very important to have, and this one was probably the best integration through sign up that I've seen in a long time. Also, I had a friend who upgraded when the new iPhones came out. We actually got new phones on the same day, and he asked me how my transition went from Android to iOS again, because one of the things he did was that all of everything that he has is two-factor by app. And so he had a really long time of making sure that all of his two-factor stuff for home and for work were set up on his new phone with all the apps. And I was like, oh yeah, all my stuff's just SMS. I just have it, do this, and they just text me and it's fine. And he's like, yeah, that wouldn't take setup, would it? And it was one of those things where it was like, sometimes depending on the nature of the two-factor itself, it can be more of a hassle than others, and this one was ideal. This one was just like, yep, put my stuff in, it works. So check that one out. Check out the WooCommerce hosting too. That if you're an e-commerce platform, if you want anything at all to like really speed it up, like really work, this one is fast. It works well. I think it came with Astra Pro and Beaver Builder Premium. Beaver Builder Pro is what they had optimized with. You can use Divi. You can install other themes and stuff like that. You get something called Glue.io, Jilt, I think, and a couple others. There's really, really high-end premium services and stuff tossed in with the monthly fee that makes it worth it. It's very good. I see Jacob on YouTube ask, what was that about WooCommerce? I missed it. It was that if you look under the resources, it is the 5th link under here, that there is actually a managed WooCommerce site. It's the 5th one under resources, called an overview of Liquid Web's managed WooCommerce hosting. But really, I brought it up to just let you guys know about the managed WooCommerce hosting. It's really cool, and it's done by Liquid Web. I believe they just bought, that was the company who bought iThemes recently, and so it's got iTheme security and everything involved on it. Like, it's a good platform. I liked it. But yeah, I wanted you guys to know about it. It's because you don't see that kind of stuff very often, like at all, managed WooCommerce. So good stuff. That said, I might as well move into the resources since I'm here anyway. So that was one of the really cool ones. Oh goodness! Oh, excuse me. I see on the YouTube, the YouTube comments that Brad just discovered haveibeenpwned.com today. If you have not seen this, it's Have I Been Pwned. It's spelled exactly like Have I Been Owned, but with a P instead of an O. My friends in college, I always used to say it Pwned, and then I heard people on stuff saying it Pwned, so I have to start saying that now because apparently that's how it's said, but it's like, it's weird to me. It's still off from what I've always said. But it's it is scary. It tells you, it has a database of hacks, basically, of leaks, and lets you know if your email was included in any of these dumps. And it will alert you if your email or password or whatever information you want is included in any of those. And when you get the information back, and I don't say if, and I say when you get the information back on from Have I Been Pwned, it's terrifying. It's going to make you want to use two-factor authentication on pretty much everything you ever touch for the rest of your life, because I guarantee that you've been hacked, and I guarantee that it is in the thousands of them. If hundreds, if not thousands, and probably the thousands if you've had an email for a very long time. So check that one out. Thanks, Brad. That one is a fantastic resource to make you not sleep tonight. It's one of those where it's like you'll be like me whenever I wake up in the middle of the night and decide I need a password manager to do it and set up. I was leaned over the side of the bed. There was light coming from my side of the bed. My wife woke up. It's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm setting up a password manager. I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about all this digital security stuff. And she was like, oh my God. It was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. where I was like just doing this in the middle of the night. It was crazy. And now Brad says he wants 10-factor authentication. It would be nice security-wise, but I think I would never log into anything ever again, which may actually be a good thing. for the way I use the internet sometimes. So anyway, I saw that. And I will toot my own horn on this last one last time. I worked really hard on this article for YouTube marketing on growing your business during YouTube. It is a monster of a post. So I'm just going to straight up be all like, hey, y'all click on that first link under resources and look at it, because I tried real hard on it. So it's a good one if that's something to really be able to make sure that your YouTube game is up where it is, and links through to Wistia a lot on actual video creation, which their videos are just great if you've never watched any of those on their studio setup and stuff like that. That said, I found a new website this week that was made by, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Michael Salem, who was in the comments here, and I believe Dominic in the Facebook comments, or work on DiviGallery.com. It is a marketplace of Divi stuff. Flipping through it has some really pretty themes. It's really good. It's really good, and I wanted you guys to know about that one, because as I went through it, I found myself just clicking through a lot and seeing where you can submit your own child themes, designs, and layouts and stuff like that to sell. So it's really, really cool. And also on there, he had a cool tool that poking around I found because he sent me a link about the tool, or an email about the tool, and I couldn't find it. The link didn't have it, so Dominic. But the Divi changelog, like, you can find all of the updates that have been made to Divi over time in the members area. But it's actually pretty hard to find on the when you log into your Elegant Themes account, and Divi Gallery has one that actually shows you everything that was changed in Divi, just has the changelog and patch notes that's scrollable and searchable through there, and that was really cool to be able to have it so prominently, so that you'll know everything that comes through on the Divi updates, because a lot of people may not know everything that's included in the updates, that when you get a feature update, that there are more things in those releases than just the new feature. While it may be hover effects, there are a ton of bug fixes as well. So if you want to check those out, check out the changelog, and Divi Gallery is just pretty. I liked it. So look at all the pretty stuff there. I really did spend a lot of time just scrolling through and being amazed at what y'all in the community can put together in terms of design, because y'all are 10 times better than I will ever be at creating this stuff. And that's why even on my personal blogs, I use layouts that came from either Elegant Themes. I've used a couple of those, and from the community, the one I use on my fitness blog is from someone I think I'm either met on here or in a Facebook group that did one. Sorry, I can't remember your name if you're watching this. Called Fit, F-I-T-T. I liked it. It was pretty, so I used it. But yeah, y'all are great. That's my point. Y'all are great. Anyway, so moving on. Like I said, Gutenberg is coming in. It's coming in 10 days. Under 2 weeks. So Gutenberg Hub had posted the top 5 Gutenberg courses for users and developers. You should probably check this out. Apparently I got a Cloudflare issue when I clicked on the link just now, but it's there. So when Cloudflare decides to like us again, click on that link and really see if there's anything that you can learn from about Gutenberg from it, because it is really important that we know what we're doing. I've been using it pretty much exclusively not for work, but for private stuff. I've been using Gutenberg pretty much exclusively, and it's not as bad as it used to be. Still not 100% sold on it. Don't know what I'll use in the long term, but I'm liking it right now. So that's as much as I can possibly say. So my wife is making weird, funny faces at me at the door. So this is what happens when she comes home a little bit early. A couple of the other, we were running a little bit short on time here. So if you go down a couple further below the Liquid Web comment, the Liquid Web WooCommerce hosting, there's one that Tariq Hassan did called "I installed a pirated theme and here's what happened." Click on this link because it will show you the kind of stuff that you want to avoid. You guys, okay, so I'm not I've installed pirated themes before. I'm sure that y'all have too. The reason that that's a bad idea is because they probably have malware in them. This one shows specifically the code that was on there that gave a backdoor into the server. Basically, there is a PHP snippet that was included in the functions.php, whereas he says, with this code, the attacker can push whatever code inside the theme or your server that he wants to, and he was glad that he didn't install this theme on a live server or other hosting environment, which means that with this being able to go in on your server, you're probably on a shared server, they can get into everybody's on your shared cluster, and also that means that if they install it, that other people install something like this, they can get into yours. So it's a good idea for everybody not to install this kind of stuff, that you really want to go through official means of getting these plugins, getting these themes, because the people who are pirating them generally, you will find people who pirate and don't add anything to it, and it is just an illegitimate piece of software without a license. Most of the time, though, there's something in there that you'll want to avoid. So there's a whole walkthrough of what it did and everything that showed up and how he found out that this one was compromised. So I see that Judy says that she's friends with Paul Jarvis, who's linked under the resource section. He's someone with a lot of good advice for freelancers and for people with rats for pets. This interview with Paul Jarvis is good. He is I see him everywhere when I'm looking at different WordPress and internet stuff. And so I don't personally know Paul, but this interview is long and really talking about how working with it's called Small is the New Big, but it's talking about not how can I even say it? My brain is starting to fuzz. Whether or not you want to grow and scale. Sometimes you may not want the hassles that come with a larger team, a larger product, a larger anything that you have, that dealing with a scale that is manageable for you can be better, and how a lot of people are seeing that as a positive thing. And I think I do too. I like small teams a lot better than large corporate kind of stuff. So yeah, check it out. It's very good. And then as I run short on time, there's a ton that I couldn't get to under resources. Like, I found just a bunch of resources this week. And let me see, where was the one that I really wanted to talk about, if I can find it. It was, okay, the last one was the best practices for handing off websites to clients. It's a Divi Chat episode, and I think this is another point that I push home a lot on here, that when I see an article or a podcast about this, that is something everybody needs to know, that how to make sure that when you finish a project for a client, that you have given them every tool that they need to succeed, so that they are not beholden to you for anything other than what they're contracted for. That means passwords. That means anything that, like emails, anything that really they should be able to do on their own, that you may not think about, stuff like that. Just where they can find stuff. Sometimes it's putting together a book. Sometimes it's keeping a spreadsheet file. Whatever it is, there are just some best practices that they talk about on this one, and you'll really want to listen. So, guys, I am out of here, so I want to thank you all for so very, very, very much for joining me today. It was good to see everybody. I'm glad everybody was able to come in and talk and have some fun. So continue scrolling down through the resources. Look at the Divi Cake blog about the best SEO plugins, where they break down what's different about Yoast and All-in-One and some others. talk about whether or not you're going to be forced to use Gutenberg, and should Gutenberg be used on existing WordPress sites? Should you only use it on new sites, or stick to the classic editor on ones that you've already got built? And then narrative storyboarding for product design. That's the very last one, and it's a Smashing Magazine article. They're long, and I always ramble about them, so I'm not even going to click into the link for you guys right now so that I can hit all the points. But narrative product design, narrative anything is very important. Storytelling is very powerful right now. Click into these links and see. Like I said, all of the links are in the description of this video, so you can always come back and click on them and keep 100 different tabs up. There are not 100 links in here in your browser, but I'm sure that by the time you add all of these, there will be. And the and so make sure that you also try to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to our channel. That would be great. And then there's also the notification bell here, maybe. Ring the bell so that you will get notifications whenever anyone on our team goes live. We have a Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern stream with Mac, who goes over Divi features. That will be the next live stream. And then on Tuesday afternoons, Jason and Donietta do different Divi use cases to show you how you can use Divi in different ways. And and then there's this one on Friday that you guys obviously already know about. So click the links, tune in, subscribe, get notifications, and I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I do see a comment that I have to respond to. Judy asked, "Where's Uncle Social today?" Now you're getting to worry about him, and Monique was asking too. He actually sent me a tweet that he wasn't going to be able to make it today, so I'm not sure what's going on, but he is okay. Everything's good, and it was planned, so nothing to worry about. I'm sure he's in good health. So y'all have a fantastic weekend. I see Judy say again, funny how important this group of regulars and new attendees gets to be over time. I know, whenever I'm not seeing some of those same names over and over again, I'm like, oh, why are you not in here now? It's like, where did you go? Do you not like me anymore? That's not, I know y'all like me. But it was that kind of thing where it's like, y'all, it's like, I'm used to seeing you guys. I love you guys. So anyway, I'll stop rambling. I love you guys. I will see you next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Check out Mac's stream at 6 a.m. Eastern time on Monday morning. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Bye.